So during that time, were you just itching to get back to Utah?
I have to say, I really disliked the large city. I grew up in Delta and Montpelier and Parowan, for heaven's sakes, you know. And what is a green yokel doing in New York, crammed into a cold water apartment with 12 other starving actors and dancers? No, I was so happy to be able to finally leave New York. This was a great job. It meant that I could pay off my university debts, my school debts, and fell in love with Southern Utah and have just stayed. They've tried to get rid of me several times, but I have stayed like an octopus. I held on.
Now, speaking of trying to get rid of you, when you first proposed the idea of this festival, of the Shakespearean Festival, were you met with much opposition?
Oh my goodness. I like to say it went over like, the idea went over like a pregnant pole vaulter. It was just unbelievable response that I got from everybody, except for the director of the college here at that time, Royden Braithwaite. Royden C. Braithwaite was a visionary and an extraordinary man, extraordinary man. I don't think there'd even be a university here today if it weren't for Director Braithwaite. I took the idea to him. They hadn't the money. It was a tiny, little impoverished junior college then, so didn't have a great deal of funding. They couldn't do much for me in the way of funding, but he gave me his unbridled support. And then he said, if you can get someone who will underwrite your first year of expenses, he said, we can furnish utilities, we can furnish a housing situation for the company, and then he threw all sorts of other wonderful things at us. The marketing people at the college just turned 180 degrees to do all of our marketing as well. So we had a lot of built-in perks from the college. And I refer to it as a college because back then it was just a junior college with about 360 enrolled students.
So I'm envisioning a woman great with child trotting up to the pole vault and just about to stick the pole vault into the ground. Which underwriter is it that got that pregnant woman over the bar?
That held the bar? The Lions Club.
Okay.
I went to the chamber, went to the city council, I went to the Rotary, I went to the Kiwanis, I went to the Elks. I'd gone to several of the congregations, and finally, my lack of enthusiasm to go to the Lions Club was very obvious. They meet at 6 o'clock in the morning on Mondays, and an actor doesn't even have a morning, let alone a Monday morning. But I met with them, and there, one of the young men in the Lions Club said, "Mr. Adams, how much money of this $1,000 that I needed to have underwritten?" He said, "How much of this $1,000 do you anticipate raising in ticket sales?" And I said, "All of it." That was I really felt that we could. And then he made a motion to the Lions Club that they underwrite the Utah Shakespearean Festival for any amount up to $1,000. Well, we took in over almost $3,800, almost $4,000. So I didn't need the Lion money, but that underwriting meant that we could go out and the college could allow me to purchase lumber, to purchase materials, fabrics, things that we had to have in order to begin.
At what point did you first feel that the entire community was behind you?
They aren't.
They're not?
Oh, no.
So Cedar City, do you feel that they haven't supported you enough?
Oh, I love Cedar. Please don't misunderstand me. And I think many people in Cedar City are thrilled that there is a Shakespeare Festival here. Something not only to fill motels and restaurants and gas stations, but something also that kind of adds an excitement and a caveat, if you will, to the city's mystique. but a very, very small percentage of Iron County residents attend the plays. I think it would be, God, I can't even imagine it would be much over maybe 1.5% to 2%.
So have you felt even an amount of hostility all through these years from locals?
Oh, yes, from some, but not only in the early years. In the early years, our actors, because we couldn't afford wigs, our actors had to grow their hair long. So here our boys were all walking around with hair, down to their shirt collars, and of course that was the Berkeley period, and the burning the bra and the draft cards, etc. So the Shakespeare company members were always looked on suspiciously. Now we afford wigs, so our men don't wear their long hair, and the kids in the community wear longer hair than the actors. But that's how times change. But at the time, yeah, we were looked at very guardedly by some members of the community. But I think the community, by and large, is happy we're here. I mean, we bring a huge influx of tax dollars and clean tourist dollars into this economy. We bring in a summer, in direct tourist impact, we bring in about a $27 million tourist impact, which in direct impact, but in indirect impact is about 60 million tourist dollars circulating in Cedar Cities. That's a huge plus for a community of this size. A lot of that money also is in St. George and Washington and Beaver. In the height of the summer, we have people staying as far away as Beaver and Richfield, where they can get motels, and it's so filled up here.
So would it be accurate to say that we have outside sources to thank for the success of this festival, in large part?
Yes. Oh, yes. And that's not to say that the local people aren't generous, but this is in many sense this is a community that I think treasures its arts, its long longevity with its juried art exhibit each spring, huge history, 70 some odd years, unbroken years of the Messiah. Over the years, the symphony here in the Orchestra of Southern Utah, one of the major symphonies now in our state, and so they have tremendous respect for, and I think affection for, their arts. But this is not a community that has the money or the wherewithal to sustain an internationally recognized Shakespeare Festival.
So as you were starting the festival and getting things going in the early 60s, did you have children at that point?
No, my children, my wife and I had our daughter was born after the 6th season.
Okay.
So we had some track record under us.